Alright, so we're working on a Space Invaders game, and let's see. I mentioned last time I could have started the game by trying to build this this splash screen here that explains the basics of the game and gives you a place to press play. But I decided what I wanted to do was start with the getting the rocket ship up on the screen and making things happen, because and in general, I like to I think I mentioned this earlier, start with something that's small but working, so that I have something. It's more satisfying to have something that works, and also every programmer has to deal with deadlines. There's certain things when things have to be out. So what you want is to get as much of a working complete piece done as you can, and then you can always add things to it. So you might argue I spent too much time trying to get a black screen. Oh, just to mention, there's another way to get a black screen that you probably saw if you looked at the Joy of Coding, the bouncy balls thing. So what we did was created a Greenfoot image and filled it in, and then we set the background to that image. But you can actually pull out the background image from the world with this get background method. So a get background method is a world method, so it's inherited from whatever world you create. So every world knows how to get its background, and then whatever you do to that background is going to show up. So that's another way to do that. But okay, let's start talking about the getting the ship on the screen. So let's create a new subclass and call it, let's see, we'll call it Rocket. It's gonna, oh yeah, maybe we should call it Shooter, huh? Because I had in my head that it was going to look like a rocket, but you might end up deciding to use a different symbol or something like that. And I think Shooter describes it better in terms of what it actually does, right? You're the guy that shoots the bullets. So I'm going to create a shooter and put him on the screen. Okay, so what you see is a problem. I want this guy to be facing up this way. This is the guy. I want this guy down here, and I want him facing up so I can move him back and forth with my keys. So how do I get him facing up? Well, let's see. There's a... So the way that you rotate things in Greenfoot, there's a set rotation or turn. There are different methods that you can use for that. But the way that the turning is set up is that if you're facing straight east, you're at 0 degrees, and then the degrees change clockwise from 0 degrees. So south is 90, west is 180, and north is 270. So we want to be facing north. So we want to set his rotation to 270. Okay. And let's take a look at the documentation on that, because there are a couple of different things and they can get confused. So there's let's see, there's a set rotation and there's a turn and a turn towards. But let's just compare set rotation and turn for a second, just to make sure we're clear on the difference between those. So set rotation says set the rotation of this actor. Rotation is expressed as a degree value from 0 to 359. 0 degrees is to the east, and the angle increases clockwise. Okay, so we saw what that looked like. Then there is this turn amount, and that says turn this actor by the specified amount in degrees. So let's see what that looks like for a second. So if I use turn, okay, so if I turn this guy 90 degrees, and then he turns 90 degrees clockwise. So I can turn him again 90 degrees more, and he turns 90 degrees more, okay? So turn says whatever direction I'm facing, rotate me clockwise that many more degrees. So rotate me 90 more degrees. So if I'm facing 180 right now and I turn 90, now I'm going to be facing 270, okay? What the set rotation does is it says, I don't care which way I'm facing right now. If I want to face south, I set my rotation to 90 because south is 90 degrees from east, okay? So if I say set rotation 90 again, it's still facing down because 90 is always, as far as you know, the set rotation guy is concerned, 90 always means turn this way, okay? And actually, since I want to be facing up, if I say set rotation 270, that will always point me north. So if you want to always be pointing in a particular direction, then set rotation is a better one generally for that. Because since I know I always want to go north, because if I end up calling it more than once, if I call turn more than once, it keeps changing the direction, and I don't want to change the direction that he's pointed. I want him always pointed at 270. So I'm going to write a constructor. So the way you write a constructor is, it's just like any other method, except you don't put in a return type. So I'm not going to write void or int or any of those. I'm just going to write the name of my constructor right away. And the name of your constructor is always the same as the name of your class. Okay, so this is the one case where you would write a method name that starts with a capital letter, because it needs to exactly reflect the class name. Okay, so so this is the header of the method. So now I'm going to write the body of the method. Okay, down here. All right, so what I want to do is, and what goes into the constructor is everything that you want to happen when you make a new object from this class. Okay, so every time I make a new shooter, I want to make sure that he turns 270 degrees. So I'm going to say, but I'm not going to use the turn method. I'm going to use the set rotation method. Set rotation 270. All right. So now, well, now he's gone, right? I need to put him on the screen in my world class in my world constructor. But now when I put him on the screen, he should go right to 270. So let's check that. So if I put a new screw, oh, it looks like he's still facing 0. Let's see. When I click, okay. So when you're adding a new object to the screen, it'll face whatever direction the image faces, the image from the image file. So if you look at the set image, the rocket.ping is facing this, is facing east. But because we've set it up in the constructor to face north, then once we put it on the screen, so see it starts out the direction that it is in the image file, but then when you click on it, it goes to the new direction. Okay. So I'm going to remove this one because I don't want this one, and put this guy. I think I want him about here, and let's say save the world. And now we've saved the world. Oh, isn't that interesting? So it recorded everything that I did, including adding the second shooter and then removing it. Well, I don't need to do that. I don't need to add and remove an object, so I'm just going to cut that out. So really all I need to do is add the object, and again, because I moved the guy around on the screen, we have this little extra set location. When you do an add object and you add the shooter object is placed at 322, 293, and then we're moving it to 319, 384. Well, that doesn't make much sense to place it one place and then move it to another. I might as well just place it where I'm going to paste that, and then copy this, and paste that there, and do this. Okay. So now I'm creating the shooter and I'm placing him right there. And in fact, I could shorten this even more if I copy this and then place it there. So I could just replace this shooter with a new shooter and get rid of this line. But I think I'm going to leave that anyway because I might decide in the future to do something with new shooter. But so let's look at this number, this 319, 384. And so that's my X and that's my Y, right? So for my X, it's at 319. So 319, and this is 640. Oh, half of 640 is 320, isn't it? So it looks like to put it in the middle of the screen, we put it at about 320, and this is so close to 320, I'm just going to change it to 320. In fact, I'm going to change it because it's really the width divided by 2, right? I'm going to change this to width divided by 2. So then that way, if I change the width of my screen, it'll still be in the middle of the screen, right? Let me show you what I'm talking about. So if I change the width of the screen to, let's say, 1,000. Close that out and compile that. Look at that. He's still in the middle of the screen. Okay, because what did I do? I made it so that he'll be at 500 now. If the width is 1,000, that'll put him at 500. So I'm going to put it back to 640. Recompile. Okay, so now I'm in the middle. So that's a nice trick to keep things spaced the way you want them. And then let's see, this 384. Now for this, I don't think I want to do it as, I could do this as as a fraction of the height or something. I could say like maybe it's 3/4 of the height or something like that. But I think what I want to do is, no matter how tall this screen is, I just want to have this a certain height from the bottom. So what I can do for this one is I can just say, because 384 is close to 380, right? That's almost 480 minus 100. So if I just say height minus 100, okay, that's there. Okay, and so now if I again change the height, let's change the width and the height. Let's make it let's make it like 300 and 200. Make it small. Okay. Let's see what happens. Okay, so now I'm still in the middle, and I'm still that same distance from the bottom. Or if I made the height 800. Okay, I'm still the same distance from the bottom. Oh, that's kind of hard to see here. Yeah, so I'm still the same distance from the bottom there. So now let me put this back where it was. 640 by 480. Okay. All right. So now I have my rocket on the screen, and the next thing is going to be to move it with the keys.